Alright, so first thing we're going to do to make our main menu here is going to be to add a canvas. We're going to do that by adding another object, and that's this TextMesh Pro UI. Um, if you don't have that option showing up, what you need to do is go to Package Store under Window. Okay, and then if you click All Packages, Built-in Packages, no, in project, okay? There's this one right here. It says TextMesh Pro. Um, it might say install up here. If it does, click install. You're going to want to wait for it to install, and I'll show you why, because then it'll give you this option, and we are going to use this option. I'm going to click import. Okay, that's done, so let's go up here where we can see it. Um, next thing we're going to do is grab our main camera, switch from a skybox to a solid color. We'll do something like this for now. If we go into game mode, you can see that this is how we're looking at the moment. Pretty plain Jane. We go ahead and change this to game title. Still looking pretty plain. So I have this file I made. This is 320 by 320 with a little bit of a gradient in it. I'm going to use this as a background for a button, so you'll see how that's done here in a second. The other thing that I want to drag into my scene here is going to be a font, and you pick any font you want. Do this one, because why not? Works best with TrueType fonts. I don't think the open type fonts work as well. So then the next thing you're going to do is, since we have our TextMesh Pro imported, you need to go to Window, TextMesh Pro, Font Asset Creator. Up here where it says Source Font File, you're going to click on the font that you imported, and then click Generate Font Atlas. This takes a couple minutes. There's some processing involved. It's going to make a specialized bitmap based off that font. It's going to use that bitmap to basically populate your menu or your UI text items. So I'm going to pause this for a second while it loads. Bear with me. Alright, so it's all generated. So next thing we need to do is make sure I hit the save button. So hit save. It's going to save it as SDF file. That's fine. Alright, now I go back to my TextMesh Pro. And right here where it says Font Asset, click the little circle. And we'll kick that over to Folker. Look at that. Game title, it says. Now, a couple notes. Color gradients are pretty dope. So that's just using the different color gradients. It's on four corners mode. There's horizontal, there's vertical. Switch to horizontal, switch to vertical, and set it back to single. And I actually, let's do blue. And then because there's a blending option down here, this is where you're going to be editing most of the font effects. And if I add, say, yellow, it turns green because it's blending the two colors. If I set the color back to white, I can also do a blend of the vertex color, the color, and the face color. We're going to go with, actually, we are going to use a gradient. It's going to be a very, very simple gradient. 4 corners. It's just going to be tinted out on 2 corners. A little bit of color. And that'll work for now. Very simple. There's lots of options here, guys, so don't feel pigeonholed into what I'm doing. I'm just basically showing you how everything works. Dilate softness will blur the edges a little bit. Dilate will expand them out or in, okay? Setting both of these to 0. You can set a texture, that's perfectly fine. So now my face color is going to kind of be tinted by that gradient, which is fine too. I kind of like it. Let's do an outline. The outline is going to be a float value, so anything between 0 and 1, we're going to say 0.1. And we're going to give it a little pop. Okay. Underlay, also something I like to use quite a bit. I normally set it to the left and down, and actually we're going to kick over to something a little more jovial here so we can see something a little brighter. There we go. Too bright. I think I like it about right there. So inner scene, this is what you see, but this is definitely not ideal. It's kind of small text, and for the title here itself, we want something a little larger, so we're going to go to 72, and then we're going to center it horizontally as well as vertically. That'll give us a little space above and below. Back in game mode, this is what we're looking like. So not too bad so far. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is add a button. And we're going to delete this text, and on the button we're going to add another Text Mesh Pro. Okay. And we can't see it right now because of the color, but go in, select our font. There we go. And then we're going to adjust this accordingly. I always mess up because the yellow box will change size with the other box, basically. So the only thing you want to adjust the size of is the bounding box, the blue circles. I'm going to adjust this just a little bit more so it fits there. Okay, so now I have my Text Mesh Pro. Change this to say new game. And then we're going to go in our button and we're going to change our button picture to a sprite. Okay, so now we have our basic button here. And now we're going to copy and paste. This text mesh will change and the other one will open up as well. Okay, so this is basically the looks of our menu right now. I am not a big fan at the moment of the color of this box, so give me just a second. I'm going to go ahead and change that bitmap, see if we can get something a little bit more pleasing. Alright, so I've grabbed this other graphic. I grabbed a couple and tried them out. And this is something that you're going to be doing, especially when building a menu for your own game, is you're going to try a couple of different things. You're going to mix things up, try new graphics, try new pictures, get a feel for the whole overall aesthetic, and see what you can find that blends into that. Now, since my scene is basically empty, black blends in just fine. And I wanted to show you I did do two more things. You go to I'm going to click on each of these buttons where it says highlighted color. It doesn't really matter what color, you're just going to pick a color. Okay. Let's see. So I'm just going to use this same color, so Control C. Click the next button. And you can paste, copy and paste. Okay, now let me show you what we just did. So right now I'm not actually in the game, so it's not doing anything. But in here, in your menu, when you're playing, when the option becomes highlighted, it will pop up that color. I don't know what I did to the second one, why it's not working. Let me fix it. Now, it's important to note that the reason that these are showing up the way that they are, I have that highlight color set to blue. So that's why when I enter them, they select as blue. But there we go. That's much better. So now if I were to change my normal color to yellow, see how this one's yellow already? Okay. And then when I highlight it, it's still going to change to blue. It's not going to blend those two colors. Undo that. So right now, and then when we click it, it's going back to normal. And that's because we haven't set the pressed color yet. So let's see, pressed color, do green. We're going to copy and paste this color as well, so Control C. Now, and I made the contrast in these colors pretty bold. A lot of times with buttons, it's going to be two tones of the same color or grays. You get a lot more subtlety that way. Okay, so now they all highlight blue, and then if I actually select one, it'll flash green. And you can change that to whatever color you feel is appropriate. So I'm going to pause the video here because pretty soon we're going to be going into some coding, and I need to make sure that I have Visual Studio open. So 1 second, we'll be right back into the video. Alright, so I also dragged this wave sound in here. I just threw up my other resources. In order to instantiate this, you're going to go to audio, audio source, and then basically this is your audio clip, so you'll drag and drop. I'm going to turn my volume down. Now when I hit play, come on, wait for it. Let's do this some more. Go ahead and maximize on play, and I'm going to change this to loop. Okay. Alright, so we got a little bit of our menu going here. Not too shabby. Now, it's important to mention that this is a WAV file. I just did a search for WAV loop free download. You can find tons of resources that way. Most of the times when you find them on a website such as that, it'll tell you the licensing requirements or whether or not you need to add an attribution, which means giving the creator credit. And this was just a freeware, free to use, free to... it doesn't have any license. It's just free. So I just grabbed a little loop sample. The other thing that I pulled in, I just did a quick YouTube graphic search on backgrounds, and I pulled in this image, which I'm going to put on my canvas, but apparently I need to right click canvas, UI image, and I'll drag and drop that. Sprite, really? Okay, fine. Sprite, apply. Now we can drag and drop that bad boy. And then go back into my scene. Resize it, and actually since it's on our canvas, it's rendering in the way of things. So in order to push to the back, we got to move it up. So let's see how we're looking now. It looks good. It's kind of plain Jane though. I like this background effect. So we're gonna leave it for now. Later on, maybe we'll see if we can create something like that that kind of moves. Now it's gonna be time to get into the coding. And as you see, I opened up my Visual Studio, and I have a script here called main menu. All right, so getting sick of looking at this. Yeah, that makes me feel a little better. I make constant adjustments as I go, just because as the look's kind of changing, you're wanting to evolve with it, you know. We'll go with that. So now that we have our stuff all set up there, what we're going to do is we're going to go in here. We're going to get rid of this. Get rid of the start. Get rid of the update. Okay. We are going to need to add a using statement. Now I know it looks like this is already in here, but I promise you it isn't. Alright, so now that we have a scene manager, let's do public void new game. Scene manager dot load. We're going to be loading scene 1 in this method, and this will all make sense here in a minute. I like to stick to convention here, so load game and options. So we're going to change this to, that's also going to be 1 because we're only going to have 2 scenes. And okay, so file. Save all. Go back into your Unity here. It's also important to note that right now, if we put this script on and we attach it properly, which we are about to do, it's not going to do anything because I don't have any other scenes yet, but I'll show you how to set those up in a second. So there we go. Create empty. Rename this main menu script. Okay, and we're going to drag and drop our main menu script onto it. Okay, next thing we need to do is go to our first button. Since list is empty, we're going to add, so click the little plus here, not 2 of them, just 1. Then drag and drop your main menu script into there. and go to main menu. So we made these public, so they should be showing up. We should, in that little menu I was just looking at, we should have a new game, a load game, and an options right here in main menu. Oh, saying runtime only. We need to change this to editor and runtime so we can actually find the function. Alright, sorry about that. You guys shouldn't have any problems doing what I was just trying to do. My computer's kind of running out of memory because I had too much stuff open. So I closed a couple programs and now we seem to be functioning properly. As you can see, I can select my button. I can go in here under main menu and I can go to new game. And I'm going to set them all. The second button is my load game button. Function will be load game. Actually does the same thing as new game at this point. Once again, drag and drop your main menu. Click main menu. That'll be options. Then I need to go to build settings. I need to add open scene. It says sample scene right now. It's actually going to be my main menu scene. We can rename it later. But this 0 here denotes what we're going to use to open it. So now that I've done that, file, hit save as. This should allow me to save as a new scene that we will call game scene. Okay, we're going to delete this and this. And take this button, go back into my scene mode so I can move it. We're going to take that button, we're going to put it down here, select the text, type in main menu, okay, and we're going to grab this text, type main game scene, file, save, and we need to add one more script here. It's going to be called go to main menu. We're almost done here, guys, so hang in there with me. If this video is helping you at all, don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe to my videos. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these one-shots in the future because as much as I like doing the in-depth long tutorials where you see beginning to end the game making, this is actually really, really neat for finding the things that you need to do just really quickly. Like, say today I'm on task, I want to make a main menu. That's exactly why I made this video. So, like I said, like, subscribe. Leave comments down below about other videos you'd like to see. I always like to see those. So in this one, we are going to leave the start and update methods because we're going to be adding an input button that will also return us to the menu. But we are going to need a public void go to main menu. This is our main method. Again, try to stick to convention. And then I'm going to add that same using statement again. We're actually going to use it again twice. And it won't let me. There we go. Couldn't be the same as the class. So now go to main menu is going to be scene manager dot open scene. Oh no, excuse me. Load scene, and remember I showed you our menu is scene 0. So the other thing we want to do is we're going to go to update. This is going to be a key input. We're going to say if input dot get key. Okay, now we have to pick the key, and to do that we say key code dot, and we're going to use escape. Okay, so now if that key is pressed, the escape key, we are going to return as well. So file, save all. Okay, now we still have our main menu script in here, and we don't need it in this scene, so I'm going to delete that. I'm going to go add another empty. Alright, we're going to rename our empty object. Go to main. Okay. Now we're going to go back into our button down here that we changed to say main menu. And we are missing a reference. That's fine because we deleted that. So we're going to grab our go to main, drop that in there, and we got to add our script to that or it won't do anything. There we go. And we're just going to hit our go to main menu. Okay. Now we need to file, save. Okay, that's saving our main game scene. Like I said, we're almost done. We gotta change one more thing. First, we need to add open scene. That makes this scene 1. Remember when we said load scene 1? Okay. Then the last thing we're gonna do, just to make it apparent that we've done something, when we change scene, excuse me, that's not an S. There we go. Now we need to hit file, save as, go into our scenes again, and options scene. Okay. And the last thing we need to do before launching this and testing it out is add this last scene, because we had a reference to 2 as well. So that's our option scene. So one more time, let's double check our logic here. Looks like everything's sewed up. Both of these are going to open the same thing because we're not actually loading a game. We don't have any data to load. So file, save just to be sure. And the difference here is and the reason I did it that way is because we created our first scene. We saved it under the scene it already was, sample scene, and then we altered a couple things and saved the same scene as our new game scene. So instead of creating a new scene and having to go in and try and recreate everything, we created multiple scenes from basically the same template. We're going to open our sample scene. And should be able to play and check out our menu. Alright, our highlights are working. New game, main game scene, main menu. Load game takes us to the game scene, the same scene. Options takes us to the option scene. Now also, if I hit escape on my keyboard, it'll go back to the menu. Okay, you can set that input. Let me shut this noise off. You can set that input to take button clicks, mouse clicks, taps, pretty much anything. So that's going to be it, guys. This is how to make our main menu. We're going to wrap it up right there. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, don't forget to leave a like and hit that subscribe button. We got a lot more in the future. If there's anything in particular that you want to know, like Unity one-shot wise, we're going to do a raycasting one on making terrain, stuff like that. So ideas, suggestions, drop them down below in the comments. I'm pretty sure that I'll be able to get to all of them eventually. Yeah, like I said, guys, tell a friend, hit that like button, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get notifications when we do future updates for future tutorials. And that's going to be it. Technivorous out.